Picture this. It's pushing midnight, exactly 11:47 p.m. You're chilling in a dingy gas station, just trying to cop a $4 iced coffee, and your debit card hits you with a hard decline. The dude behind the register is giving you massive side-eye, looking like you're completely killing his vibe. You mumble a quick, "My bad," desperately digging through your wallet for some loose change to save face. And right then, you spot it. The ticket. Crumpled up in the darkest corner of your wallet, you copped it on a total whim about 11 days ago, just because the neon sign outside flashing a $600 million jackpot made you chuckle. You distinctly remember thinking, some lucky dude is gonna secure that bag and it's definitely not gonna be me. You pull it out, fully intending to just trash it. But something makes you pause. It's just a weird gut feeling, a low-key itch of curiosity you can't even explain. Instead of paying for your drink, you pull up the winning numbers on your phone. The first number hits. Your hand totally freezes. The second number is a match. Your chest instantly tightens up. By the time you read the fifth number, you literally aren't breathing. You are standing under the buzzy fluorescent lights of a sketchy gas station, holding a busted piece of paper that is worth more straight-up bread than your entire family has pulled in over 3 generations combined. And literally nobody on the planet knows it yet. Not your mom, not your day one homie, not the cashier standing 3 feet away ringing up some guy's smokes. You have exactly 60 seconds to make the most massive call of your entire life. You slide the ticket back into your wallet. You count out the coins for your coffee. You step out into that empty parking lot, feeling like a completely different soul just hijacked your body. You don't say a word to anyone. That choice right there? It becomes the golden rule for the rest of your life, and you didn't even realize you were writing the rulebook yet. You just knew, purely on instinct, that the second this tea gets spilled, the old you is dead. You instantly morph into a walking target, a charity case, an endless bankroll, a viral headline. So you make the executive decision to completely ghost before anyone even notices you're off the grid. The very next morning, you hit the road and drive 4 hours across state lines to claim your prize. You've already done a deep dive on blind trusts, staying up until 4 a.m. the night before with 15 browser tabs open. You're speed-running legal jargon, learning terms like anonymity laws, revocable trusts, and single-purpose LLCs. You spin up an entity with a totally basic name that means zero to anyone, the Meridian Trust. You aren't the face of this operation. You are strictly the shadow pulling the strings. The lottery office is dead quiet, super clinical, and honestly terrifying. A lady in a sharp gray blazer double-checks your ticket. Her eyebrows hike up maybe a fraction of an inch when the numbers actually come back verified. And that tiny micro-reaction is the first red flag that your life has just leveled up into a completely different dimension of reality. They ask if you want the lump sum or the annuity payout. You already know the play. Lump sum. $314 million after the tax man takes his cut. You ink your name on 4 different documents with a hand that absolutely will not stop vibrating. And when you walk out of that building, on paper, you are still the exact same broke 29-year-old who rolled up that morning. That's the entire master plan. Stay identical on paper, become a completely different beast underneath it all. You head back to your apartment that night, slump on the floor with your back against the couch, and you laugh until you literally cry. And then you keep crying until you're not even sure if it's a flex of happiness anymore. It's something way closer to pure panic, because now you hold a secret that nobody else does. And holding on to knowledge like this is heavy. It sits right behind your ribs like a second heartbeat. The heavy crown of stealth wealth. For the first week, you change absolutely nothing. You still clock into your gig stocking shelves at the local hardware store. You still crush cheap ramen on Tuesday nights. You still spot your roommate $20 for gas, knowing full well you could buy him a brand new whip in straight cash and never even notice the dent in your bank account. You just smile and hand him a crumpled Jackson from your wallet, like it's the absolute last one you have to your name. That's the exact moment you realize the first law of stealth wealth. The performance never takes a day off. Not for a day, not for an hour. every single interaction becomes a mini acting gig, and you are simultaneously the main character and the only person in the audience who knows the actual plot.
You start finessing the money, moving it insanely slowly, super carefully, like a surgeon working a scalpel. You bring on a high roller wealth attorney that a friend of a friend of a friend vouched for, someone completely detached from your actual reality, based out of a city you've never even visited. You feed him half-truths. He doesn't need your real name tied to a single asset. All he needs is your signature on the legal docs that guarantee your name stays totally wiped from the public record. 3 weeks deep, you drop your 2 weeks notice. You tell your boss you scored a dope offer out of state. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody ever questions a basic, boring explanation. You pack up and relocate to a mid-sized city where you are literally a nobody. You rent a super average 2-bedroom apartment under a corporate shell name. You drive a 4-year-old beater that was paid for in pure cash through the trust, not tied to your personal social security number. You are, by every single visible metric, a total NPC living a totally average life. But under the hood, the machine is printing. The trust is scooping up index funds, municipal bonds, and a wildly diversified real estate portfolio through shell companies across 3 different states. You're high-key, richer than the mayor of your new city, rolling in more dough than half the businesses on Main Street put together, yet you're crushing soggy gas station sandwiches for lunch because a gas station sandwich draws absolutely zero heat. The glitch in the matrix. This is when the mental gymnastics really start frying your brain. You start picking up on stuff you'd never noticed before. The specific way people clock expensive cars in a parking lot. The way a stranger's eyes glue onto a designer watch. You start understanding in your gut exactly why the ultra-rich hide their bags. Because the second money becomes visible, it becomes a target. People suddenly feel entitled to a piece of your pie. You think about your mom non-stop. You obsess over giving her a ring, spilling the tea, and watching her absolutely melt with relief knowing her mortgage is wiped out. Instead, you play it smart. You have your lawyer draft up trust docs to quietly nuke her debt anonymously, routing the cash through a totally bogus grant program he sets up. 2 months later, she gets a letter in the mail claiming her remaining balance was cleared by an anonymous donor through a regional homeowner assistance fund. She calls you, absolutely bawling. You play dumb on the phone. You genuinely hate how elite you've become at lying straight to the faces of the people you ride for. That's the first real tax you pay, not the money, the distance. Every single friendship starts feeling like a carefully curated vibe you have to maintain forever. You watch your day one best friend stress over making rent, knowing you have the power to fix his entire life in 4 seconds with a single wire transfer, and you just sit on your hands. Because the second you bail him out, the entire illusion drops. And once that cat is out of the bag, you can never shove it back in. You start to realize that having this level of wealth isn't ultimate freedom. It's a cage with really plush, soft walls. 4 months in, you fumble the bag for the first time. You're kicking it at a bar with a new crew from your city, people who don't know your history. Someone brings up the classic hypothetical. What would you do if you hit $100 million jackpot? You're laughing along. But because you're 2 drinks deep and the crushing isolation has been chewing you up inside, you let something slip. You look dead ahead and say, "I'd never tell anyone, not a single soul." The tone of your voice makes the whole table freeze for a second. This girl named Dana, super sharp, usually quiet, locks eyes with you for a beat too long. "That's oddly specific," she says. You fake a laugh. You pivot the conversation. But you go back to your crib that night with your heart hammering out of your chest, replaying that one stupid sentence in your brain 50 times, terrified you just handed someone a thread that could unravel your whole life. That's the exact moment it clicks. The truth doesn't even need to be spoken out loud to be lethal. A weird vibe, a shift in tone, one sentence delivered with way too much chest. People are hyper-perceptive, something you never respected until you had a $300 million secret to protect. You tighten up. You totally stop drinking around anyone you don't trust with your life. You accidentally craft a whole secondary personality, a slightly more boring, totally forgettable version of yourself who never drops a quote memorable enough to be repeated.
6 months after hitting the jackpot, your trust generates $40,000 a day in passive income, yet you remain trapped in a thrifty, meticulously crafted burner life that breeds a terrifying, paranoid isolation. A dangerously close call with a friend who nearly guesses your secret forces you to double down on your cover, leading you to buy average-yielding real estate, work a mundane 9-to-5, and anonymously fund your family's futures just to keep the target off your back. You finally understand that the ultra-wealthy ghost society for pure survival, but this bulletproof discipline becomes an agonizing curse when you meet a girl you genuinely fall for. Now, sitting across from her, you are forced to make the ultimate crushing choice. Drop the mask and risk your entirely safe $300 million empire for the chance at real love, or protect the vault and accept a lifetime of deafening loneliness.